Well, welcome back everyone to yet another speculation video. As always, it is so great to have you guys back here. Always love seeing you guys pop up. Always love seeing you guys comment down below. Today we're going to be tackling the Reptile DLC. So if you guys don't already know, any single time Frontier puts out a reptile, I am always in love with it. Listen, even like amphibians and stuff, the salamander came out great, the alligator came out great, the Cayman came out great. Every single time Frontier always nails it, except for, the saltwater crocodile, but that was a way long ago. With all things being considered though, we're going to be making the animal pack first, starting with the Parenti. The Parenti is a beautiful monitor lizard from Australia. If you guys don't already know, Trico Art, one of my good buddies, made a Parenti mod, and it is one of the most beautiful things ever. But listen, an official one would be great because everyone could use it. Even GeForce Experience users can use it. The Parenti is a really freaking awesome creature. They're black and yellow, and oh my god, they are quite the fellow. Oh my gosh. So they would be a really awesome pick along with the Nile crocodile. Listen, you guys know how much I want an official Nile crocodile. It just doesn't feel like a proper zoo game without it. These guys would be wonderful for not only African sections, but also like reptile houses. They'd be perfect for Madagascar houses. They're just really freaking awesome creatures, and having them in game would be great, as well as the Thomas Stoma. The Thomas Stoma is actually a very interesting one. These guys are also called the false gharial because they do look a lot like gharials, but they aren't necessarily related to them all that much. They're still extremely awesome creatures, and they do have this kind of orangish kind of sheen to them. A lot of the times you'll find them with that. They're just really interesting creatures to have, and they're another Asian rep, which is always great to have. I always love seeing Asian animals pop up. Moving through there, we also have the Sulcata Tortoise, otherwise known as the African spurred tortoise. Listen, I love tortoises. I think they're easily some of the most essential zoo animals, and having them officially in the game would be a great thing to have. African spurreds are extremely common not only in lower budget zoos but higher budget zoos as well. Having that dynamic kind of attribute to them really does make them a wonderful choice for something like this. A lot of the times when Frontier does choose stuff, it's kind of like the proboscis monkey, which is extremely rare all across the globe, not even just in Southeast Asia, but all across the rest of the globe. But the Sulcata Tortoise is one that you would find a lot of the times around, so that would be a great pick, as well as the Mertens Water Monitor. I just finished coding this one for Gen, and I fell in love with it. It is such a beautiful lizard, and they're extremely common in Australia, and I think they're also pretty common in North America, which is great as well. I can't really speak for Africa or Europe, but they're still very cool creatures. Just getting more monitor species in the game would be a great thing to have as well. Moving on from there, I also have the Mata Mata. You listen, when we talk about reptiles, we gotta include turtles always. I love turtles. They're the cutest things ever. Except for the Mata Mata, which is completely ugly. But I just saw these guys at Buttonwood Zoo, and these guys are easily some of my favorite animals now because they just look so funny. If you look at one dead on, they just have this sly little grin to their face, and I feel like Frontier would be able to absolutely nail it with these guys. They are funny looking guys, and they have a funny name too, so I think they would be a great addition to this pack as well. Moving on there, I also have the broad-snouted Cayman. I just recently put this mod out with Mega Game and Rex. These guys are very handsome, and they're a wonderful representation of South America. I know a lot of the times that, people think like, South America has some Caymans. These guys would be a wonderful pick as well because they're much bigger than your Cuviers, and I don't know, they're just a very unique choice to have. So that would be a great thing to have, as well as the exhibit animal being the bearded dragon. Even though they're extremely common in the pet trade, they are still pretty common in zoos, and I fall in love with these guys. They're extremely cute, and they're just so dynamically unique. I don't know, I just feel like having these guys not only for children's zoos, but you could have them in like, I forget where they're actually from. I probably should have looked at that before, but there can also be in desert sections and stuff like that. They would just be a very dynamic species that I think would fit the bill pretty well. Moving on to the scenery pack though, I have the Nile crocodile leading the pack. These guys would be a wonderful headliner. Sulcata Tortoise, otherwise I would have the red-footed tortoise as a stand-in. both would be a wonderful addition to have, just because tortoises are very awesome creatures. Who hates a tortoise? Not me. Moving on from there, though, I have the Mata Mata or the Eastern Snakeneck Turtle. Either would be a wonderful addition. Just having more aquatic turtles in the game would be a great thing to have, especially because we don't have any to begin with. We do have the Diamondback Terrapin, but those guys are extremely small, so getting a much bigger one, kind of like the Mata Mata or even the Eastern Snakeneck, would be a great thing to have. And at last, we have a three-way tie between the Parenti, Mertens Water Monitor, or the Chinese Alligator. Okay, I haven't talked about the Chinese Alligator yet. These guys are adorable. They are extremely tiny, do keep that in mind, but I feel like they'd be a wonderful pick. They are critically endangered, which is something to keep in mind, but they are very common in zoos. Not very common, but you know, they'd be a very wonderful choice for a zoo game, if that makes sense. In the exhibit slot, though, I have the false water cobra. These guys would be in the semi-aquatic habitat, and they're just really freaking cool. They come from South America, which is always great to have. Always love some SA reps in here. But moving on from there, I also have more props, new heaters, new heating pads, bedding, and more. When it comes to reptiles, you do want to make sure that they have these beautifully decorated terrariums and habitats, so getting that would be a great thing to have, as well as smaller foliage for exhibits and terrariums. Just having a lot more clutter would be a wonderful thing to have for this pack in particular. Moving on from there, though, I have a new mechanic integrated in here because I'm very upset that it's not integrated into the game to begin with. I want reptiles to prefer sun over shade. When you play Planet Zoo, like me, you start to notice some things, and one of the things I notice is that my tortoises always go for shade. Even my reptiles, like my Nile monitors, my saltwater crocodiles, my alligators, always end up going in the shade, and that's just not something that you get within a realistic zoo. A lot of the times you will see zoos set up heating pads for these guys, especially in the colder months, because they are cold-blooded, so actually integrating that realism into the game would be a great thing to have. But that's all I have for today. I want to know what you guys have, so obviously drop down your choices for this DLC in the description, not in the description, in the comments down below. Oh my gosh, if you guys could edit the description, I would be very impressed. But definitely do let me know your choice for this pack. Would you even buy this pack to begin with? I know it seems pretty niche, we're kind of getting into those niche packs, I apologize, but I think it would be a very awesome pack to have to begin with. But let me know what you guys have to say, and with that being said, I'm Leaf. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care and have the most wonderful of wonderful days. Bye-bye now.